Soaked with rain on Friday, Saturday dawned with sunny skies for a picture-perfect day of racing outside Lakewood, Colorado. Home state hero Eli Tomac fell one spot short of the top step on the podium for the second time this season. Once slated for retirement by now, Tomac extended his career, and by extension, his own youth in a way, is cast as a battle of and for the ages with young Jett Lawrence, some 11 years his junior. But at the other end of the spectrum, it was Lawrence, showing yet another facet to his helmet-on level of maturity that belies his age, as he showed the old dogs some new tricks at Thunder Valley. While being pressured by Aaron Plessinger in the first race, and unwilling to push beyond the pace he was setting, Jett made a small mistake in a rut and turned it into opportunity. Instead of trying to burst back into the lead, he chose to follow AP, find out where the veteran had better lines, and then retake control of the race. A subtle yet supreme show of maturity, well beyond most 21-year-old racers. Then, in the second outing, Jett showed yet more arrows in his arsenal. By first ever so lightly keeping the pressure on one-star Yamaha rider in the first half of the race, only to have to fend off the frenzied charge of another in the second. Meanwhile, the best wingman in the sport held back Tomac. Hunter's late race misfortune, a high side crash while running in third by himself on the final lap of race 1, cost him the position, instead elevating Eli into the podium spot. But adding the final nail to the coffin in the second race, Eli himself crashed, his chances hitting the dirt with just over 2 minutes remaining on the clock.
All looked like they had him covered, but he was clutch, under fire, and Jett Lawrence wins again!
High Point Raceway was founded in 1976 by brothers Jack and Carol Holbert on their family farm in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. The brothers invited race promoter Dave Coombs Sr. to the farm to see if he was interested in building a motocross track. Coombs broke ground shortly after. The Moto factory team from Europe also helped design the track, and their feedback was incorporated into later renovations. The facility opened in 1977 and has hosted a round of the Pro Motocross Championship nearly every year since. In the 80s and 90s, when motocross interceded on the Supercross schedule, Mount Morris traditionally was held on Memorial Day weekend, and it was an annual pilgrimage for many East Coast fans and racers. The all-night pit parties on a 3-day holiday were legend. Many a couch and more than a few cars burned to the ground during late-night revelry. Those were the days. Jumping over the initial 20 years of Mount Morris history for the moment, the most memorable of those Memorial Day races for many was in 1997. There are many reasons, the most prominent in the results being the mud. track conditions were the worst ever in western Pennsylvania. But the most prominent and important memory for most was that it was also Honda-mounted Damon Bradshaw's final national victory of his career.
Mud, mud, and more mud. Welcome back to Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for round 4 of AMA Motocross. I'm sure Troy Lee Designs won't take credit for the artistic design, but Jeremy McGrath took the liberty to put Troy's signature on his homemade cardboard number plate. One of the many adjustments that you have to make for bad weather. That one to help out the scores, of course.
Holding the shoulder.
LaRocco having to avoid the crash, and here Emming goes down at the early going. Our hole shooter is still in first. Larry Ward, number 6. But look out. Here comes Ryan Hughes to the inside. Whoa.
Good.
Hughes having trouble getting up the hill. No traction. It's rained a little bit since the 125s.
There's Bradshaw.
And what a fan favorite he is here at Mount Morris. Off the track, Lawrence. Bradshaw gets by him. And Damon Bradshaw is now in 3rd place.
Hard to tell there if Bradshaw just, or if Lawrence rather, let Bradshaw go by, or if he just blew it and tried to make it look like he was just letting Bradshaw go by. But either way, it's tough to get up that hill.
You know, speaking of a lot of fans for Bradshaw, that's because he's a 3-time winner here. But the fans have been absolutely amazing through all this bad weather.
That's right. And every year they've always been there. They've always been loud. And they've watched Damon Bradshaw come up through the ranks. They've watched him on mini bikes and ride amateur races and regionals and win his first national here. And there's a lot of fans out there pulling for him.
Welcome back to Mount Morris, where Ryan Hughes is our leader in Moto number 1. Right now we're taking a look at the 3rd place rider, Damon Bradshaw, number 10. Similar to Hughes, he didn't race here last year because of injury, but he's riding well now and is very hungry. Look at that. He threw his goggles off on the top of the hill. Currently in 3rd place, Damon Bradshaw. Let's go to Davey.
Show you exactly how bad the condition is. The riders are pulling in to get goggles as the race goes on. We got tipped off. Here comes Damon Bradshaw.
Pit stops are really the call of the day right now. Here comes Damon Bradshaw moving toward his mechanic slowly.
Oh, that's smart. He wants his mechanic to hold the throttle so he can do it. Not sure what he's telling him, but boy, that's pretty quick. Damon got to put him on just like he wants. I had people put him on me before over my nose. I'm like, God, just let me do it.
Ryan Hughes. Oh, the brakes have gone his way, but he's been in the right position to be opportunistic.
Yeah, getting in the lead right away and finding your line through there and forcing everybody else to have to dodge that bruise. That's the place to be. And Ryan's finally getting his chance. I mean, he knows he's fast.
Look at the mechanics area. Looked like it was hosed down before the Moto.
Yeah, they've been a team and know that Ryan is capable of winning.
It's getting pretty messy out here, folks. Mount Morris. And its worst riding condition that I've ever seen it in.
Normally that would be a double jump. They would sail over that, land in the corner, maybe even do a little showing off for the fans. Now they can barely get up the hill. And the fans, like I said, they're packing the fences. Conditions aren't great for them either, but they're diehard here in Mount Morris. Ryan is on his game right now, and it shows. Pulling away from John Dowd, who I thought would be a real challenge.
Well, for Ryan right here, he's not that far from the checkered flag. He's had some rough times this year, but this is his first career 250 Moto win. Ryan Hughes, the checkered flag. He got a good start in Moto 1, but Larry Ward got the whole shot from the outside. Gets another good start here in Moto 2. Lusk trailing, though, and there comes Larry Ward from the outside. Ward, his second straight hole shot.
We are definitely going to have ourselves a race because Bradshaw is going to give it all he's got. These fans are going to push into it. Ryan Hughes can smell an overall, and Emmett, well, he wants to get around everybody and salvage some points from that first Moto performance. Got a lot of motivation.
Bradshaw coming to the inside on Emmett, and he makes the pass for 3rd place. Damon Bradshaw in 3rd. Much to the pleasure of the crowd. A former 3-time winner here at Mount Morris. With the bad weather conditions, what was his strategy going in?
For me, there's no strategy. Just get the best start I can and just, go as hard as I can for, how long we got to go. I don't know. if it's going to get any worse, I think it'll be better off if it'll keep raining. If it quits raining, then it's going to probably dry out a little bit and then get sticky. So I'd just soon keep raining and get a good start.
Well, right now it's obvious Damon got his wish because it is pouring. It's not just raining. As Damon Bradshaw pursuing Ryan Hughes for second place.
And all the rain that's coming down, the spectators are still standing there. Look at this guy, no shirt, took it off to wave Bradshaw on. There's some fans for Damon. They're going to motivate him to get his way around Ryan Hughes. The overall is really between these two guys if things stay the way they are.
Howerton took 3, and here comes Damon Bradshaw. Boy, where did he get the power up that hill?
That's the same place he got around Emick, and what it takes is a lot of nerve, or that other word I can't say on TV, to get down that hill through those ruts and keep that momentum.
Rain's coming down so hard, that'll help vision, though, a little bit, won't it?
I don't know.
Take the mud off anyway.
Yeah, but no, it's going to make it worse.
Whoa, threw his goggles off.
Yeah, there you go.
Why, at this point in the race, might he shed his goggles?
Because there's no way he can see. There's no way at all. I mean, look at the sun.
Here's Bradshaw, number 10. What a gutsy battler he has been today. Look at the trenched shirt from behind. Our leader, still Larry Ward.
It's not by much, though. Bradshaw has been gaining little by little. Damon's just on a roll. He's obviously just gotten used to these conditions. It's not even bothering him now. It probably reminds him of some of the days when he was an amateur or out in practice when there's not a lot of pressure. You're just out having a good time. Who wants to win the most?
Our leader paddling through.
Who's willing to take the most chances?
Oh, look at this. Bradshaw, inches ahead. Coming down, and Bradshaw gets caught up in the water. Can Larry Ward get by him? Oh, look at that. Larry Ward, a great battle with Bradshaw.
Well, Bradshaw took a huge chance going through that lake. I would go through that one time and think, uh-oh, I might have just ruined the bike for the rest of the race, but you have to. For Bradshaw to be a moto win and the overall, and in front of his hometown fans, not hometown, but it seems like it anyway. He can smell this. He wants it so bad.
This is the track he chose to come out of retirement to get back into Supercross, motocross racing. It's always because I think the fans have been with him. He's a 3-time winner here. His last win, incidentally, was right here at Mount Morris back in 1993, and Bradshaw makes the move on him, coming through the water. Ward still looking back to see what happened. Bradshaw could win the overall.
Well, that was amazing right there. Here it is again. Larry Ward went right to the middle of that lake. They almost come together here in the air. Bradshaw decided to go way to the inside, skip all that water.
This could be the first 250 win of the season, of the year, for Honda. On the Manchester Honda, Damon Bradshaw, number 10. Can he hold it together now?
Listen to that crowd. He's got to know that's pretty much all for him. These people watched him, as I said, right here so many times. If he wins here again today, this will tie him with Rick Johnson for 4 wins.
Damon Bradshaw is headed for his first victory since coming out of retirement. And that was back in 1993.
Yeah, but it's not over yet, though, Art. They got another half a lap, 3/4 of a lap to go. He's still got this treacherous section here.
Getting by the lappers easily now, Damon Bradshaw, but really nothing's easy on this track right now.
They could just about push it from here and have it in the bag.
Ducking away from the roost. He knows that checkered flag is waving. Damon Bradshaw. What a moment for these fans that have stuck it out through this monsoon.
I sure didn't. You know, I just kept riding. I didn't know what anybody else was doing behind me, but I just kept trying. I didn't have any goggles. It was rough, but man, I'm happy.
What about the last lap pass on Ward?
Well, I was pretty sure that it had to happen, you know, for me to win the overall. So I just I just pushed and it happened for me.
Anything to say to this crowd?
You are the man. And I tell you, this is the best crowd anywhere we go, man. I tell you, if it weren't for these people, I'd never done it.
Obviously, Bradshaw was enormously popular with the Mount Morris faithful, having raced there so many times on amateur days before ever even turning pro. And for years, until the track was, in my opinion, sadly reconfigured, the jump string along Front Straightaway was even dubbed Bradshaw Boulevard. Before his premature and thankfully abbreviated retirement, his battles there with Jeff Stanton and Jean-micheal Bell were the stuff of legend.
Here's a look at part of the huge crowd assembled at High Point Raceway, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, for round 3 of the National Championship Motocross Series. And let's go to Carl Holman, our pit reporter, who talked to a couple of the riders and a team manager earlier today.
Damon, you've been out for practice. What's the track like today?
Oh, it's pretty good. It's kind of one line right now. They put a lot of water on the track and plowed it pretty deep, but some more lines starting to develop. I think after the qualifiers, the track will be good, for some good racing.
About to drop on the first 250 moto of the day. There it goes, and we are underway with the race action. Jean-micheal Bale, you had a quick shot of him. There he is around the center of the track. Rider number 8, but it's Damon Bradshaw. Bradshaw, from out of the middle of that pack, stole a whole shot. He came around that first corner like a freight train. Bradshaw, 18 years old, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, is the ace of the Yamaha team, and he figures at one point in time to garner several national championships in his career. At least that's the pick of Bradshaw, and most of the folks that know motocross pretty well say this young man has all of the talent needed. They just need to harness some of that talent and put it in the right direction. Bradshaw hitting the doubles. He's putting every wheel in place. Rounding the corner right up next to the spectator. I guess they like to get that dirt thrown in their face, and they're getting just that as they crowd that fence line. Bale, meanwhile, has moved to third ahead of Bradshaw, the 1990 250cc winner here at High Point. He understands this racetrack very well. He rode throughout his amateur career several times here and always fared extremely well. So look for Bradshaw to turn in a good, strong ride here today. Here comes Stanton to challenge around the outside of the track. Now Stanton will fall back in line. He showed the wheel to Bradshaw. He just said, I want you to know I'm here, son. I'm not going anywhere. And Stanton is crowding Bradshaw all over this track. He goes to the inside. Can he make the pass? No, they come out of their side-by-side. And I don't know if he's going to make it or not. No, Bradshaw holds on as he's got the inside line. And Stanton still beside him. Those two have been side-by-side for several corners throughout this Mount Morris track. They're still together. And Bradshaw held Stanton off. And right now, Stanton is just giving, look at that. He outbraked Bradshaw at the bottom of that hill. Bradshaw had to get off the gas. Stanton was able to make the pass, and he's taken over the number 1 position. So it's Stanton out front, Bradshaw running second, and right behind them is Jean-micheal Bale. You could throw a blanket over these 3 riders. But right now, as this one is starting to wear down, Jeff Stanton, rider number 1, has complete control over this 250 class. Right behind, though, and not giving up, Damon Bradshaw. Keep your eye on this young man. He'll try the pass when it's least expected. They go into the trees. Bradshaw looked like he had an inside line, and he did. Bradshaw, behind the trees, out of sight of our camera, made the pass on Stanton, and he regains the number 1 position. So Damon Bradshaw, in the late stages of Moto number 1, has made a move. Jean-micheal Bale is still the unknown factor. He is still parked on the rear wheel now of Jeff Stanton in the number 3 position. Just a few corners to go for this young man out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and he'll win his first moto of the season in this 250cc Outdoor National Championship class. Bradshaw, one of the premier riders on the circuit, is just 18 years old. His best years are still ahead of him, but you'd never know it from watching him ride out here today. Cast a look over his shoulder, takes the checkered flag with the arm pumped up in the air and says, I'm the champ, at least in Moto number 1 in this 250 class. You're going to have to come back and catch me, if you can, in Moto number 2. The 250 classes were about set to start the second 250 Moto. The riders are at the gate. There it goes. And round number 2 of the 250 class here at Mount Morris is underway, and it's spectacular. Action on the racetrack. A spill, and that was Jean-micheal Bale, the series points leader, who was on the ground. Meanwhile, Jeff Stanton
is way out front, and he's followed by Damon Bradshaw, the rider that won Moto number 1. These two riders put on quite a display of riding talent as they passed each other a couple of times in the first Moto, with Bale sitting back and watching. But right now the action all out in front among just two riders. Jeff Stanton, who is in the lead, and Damon Bradshaw in the number 2 position. Here goes Bradshaw to the inside. It looked like he was going to try to get the wheel underneath Stanton and make the pass in the early going. Now that would surprise me. I would expect that Bradshaw would be content to follow for a while rather than getting in front of Stanton and then giving Stanton the opportunity to wear him down. But it looks like I'm wrong. Here he comes, Bradshaw beside Stanton, and Bradshaw is going to make the pass. Can he make it stick? Around the corner, a left-hander, and Bradshaw with an inside line takes over the number 1 spot. I am surprised. Number 11 is Damon Bradshaw. He passed the early leader, Jeff Stanton, several laps ago, and since then has been able to hold on to that number 1 position. Now, until this last lap, Bradshaw had things pretty much his own way. Stanton was back 7-8 bike lengths, but now Stanton goes to the inside. Bradshaw looked over at him, and it was almost like Bradshaw was giving him room in there. Bradshaw went wide in that corner. Just a few corners left, and Stanton is feeling it now. He's slowed his pace just slightly. Just a second ago, he looked over his shoulder for Damon Bradshaw to see what kind of a lead he has. He knows that he can coast in now. As a matter of fact, he could probably jump off and push the bike to the checkered flag. One more corner, and there it is. Jeff Stanton takes Moto number 2 and will be declared the day's overall winner in this 250 class. Exciting day of motocross comes to an end. Round 3 of the National Championship Motocross Series.
I think Damon and I put on a hell of a show. We had a great first moto, and then he was right into the second moto. And I always say the strong will survive, and I believe that definitely happened today. He rode a great race, and just look forward to the next one.
In 2008, the ambiance of the event changed as the date was bumped from Memorial Day to its current June slot on the calendar. 20 years after Damon Bradshaw's historic win in 1997, High Point received a major makeover in 2017 that eliminated Bradshaw Boulevard in favor of a new and revamped layout, more elevation changes, and allegedly enhanced viewing lines for the fans all around the racetrack. 2 years ago, the race was the best of the season in which Jett Lawrence couldn't be beat, but almost was, with Kitty Roxon coming off the couch to do what virtually no one else was able to do all summer: match Jett Lawrence's speed.
Is that Lawrence leading them into turn 1? I think it is. He has been aces, not just with the finishes, but with the starts this year.
This is going to be one of these moments that I've been really looking forward to. Like, is he just playing? Is he just doing what he needs to do? And does he have more? And this is what I cannot wait to see right now.
And Lawrence has gone down! Lawrence has gone down! We've got problems! And that's Marchbanks who went 5. Did Roxon get him as well? Or is Marchbanks in the lead? I think I might have caught Roxon on the left side. And the first major adversity for Jett Lawrence in 2023 outdoors. There are passing lines through here, and Lawrence going to try to use it. Roxon on the inside. Good line for the 18. Lawrence has got the number 1 spot. Well, Roxon gave him a challenge, but the checkered flag again goes to Jett Lawrence. Let's bring it. Moto 2 underway. Roxon in the lead immediately with Plessinger second. And everywhere Roxon goes, the crowd reacts to seeing him in the lead. And that's why he flew right by. Jett Lawrence strafing the sky here at Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, headed to the Geico Motorcycle High Point National win. Made it interesting for us. The streak continues. Jett Lawrence wins at High Point.
Then, in 24, still banged and bruised from the Hangtown race 2 weeks prior, Jett again swept both motos. He's 4 for 4 at High Point on a 450.
He wants to be in front of Chase Sexton.
Yeah, but right now he's got a shot at it. He's all the way back to the rear wheel, and now on the inside.
Yeah.
Can Sexton finish it off and get the lead? He does.
Yeah, he's laboring right now, and you can tell by his body position. He's lost that aggressiveness, and yeah, I think that shoulder's bothering him a lot more than he put off.
If he lets Jett Lawrence hang in there and stick behind him, find that line where he had been closing and made the pass, this race will not be over. You already see Jett fighting back right away.
He made that line right there. Same one he got the lead back from him before, and he does it again. Careful, guys. They almost hit him midair.
Yeah, great move by Jett. And what JT was saying, like, he'll recover, and Chase realizes that as well. That's why he goes down the inside.
Fantastic. What a battle.
Yeah.
Well, again, that inside line up the hill. Oh, no! Sexton is throwing it away. Here it is. Sexton still digging, but running out of time. Jett Lawrence, dare we say, rebuilding the win streak. He had won 24 straight. He's looking at 3 in a row now. And 2 overalls in a row. Jett Lawrence wins High Point.
The last rider to give him a race in Mount Morris was his own brother, Hunter, with the 2 splitting Moto wins in the 250 class 3 years ago.
Made a move, but they just battled back and forth, and Hunter never gave up. No, he was going on this other downhill, and he's able to skip right past his brother here. So now Hunter into the lead again. Yep, and again, then Jett, of course, retaliated with this move here, switching lines, going around the opposite side, the outside, and making a move. Unbelievable.
As much as we might want to see a real battle of the ages between Jett and Eli, Lawrence has now led 71 laps. Eli has led only 4, after overtaking AP in the waning moments of Hangtown's first Moto. Eli and Aaron have each stood on the box at Moto's end 4 times. Only Jett has been on all 6. Coming into Lakewood, Lawrence had 31 wins out of 36 Moto starts. He's now 33 for 38, and he's 5 for 6 on the season. Moreover, the 18th win was his 19th career start. That's as near as makes no difference, a 95% overall win percentage. In both classes combined, Jett moves to 32 career wins, already one ahead of Ryan Villapoto, and a clear 9th on the all-time list. More important in real time is that 3 races in, Jett is already a full Moto ahead of the field. His lead in the championship standings now sits at 25 over Eli. This may be beast mode, circa 32 years old. Still ferociously fast, but pitched against a still more polished, latter-day version of his own younger self. The prodigy that Eli himself once was.